Show us. That doesn't really work, does it? Have you tried? Oh, that's good. Oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. Better. So much better. What a fantastic, fantastic tune. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Young man, there's no need to feel down. Young man, pick yourself off the ground. I've been Donald Trump. Thank you and good night.
And what size?
This one's from Jeremy in Wisconsin. And it says, Tuffy brand coffee is the best coffee in the world. Thanks for the grift.
Anyway, I'm going to find out who this quartering character is. And when I do, he's going to get a bit of the old ice troll treatment.
Went from loathing Brie Larson to being the unofficial #1 fan site for Brie Larson.
How about a handshake? You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle, and in return, I'm gonna let you keep your hand.
Well. Happy Wednesday to you. It's good to see. It's good to see my staff be here on time. I think it's an improvement on the show. What do you think?
I feel like I'm being set up to be involved in something I don't want to be involved in. So it's an unusual backdrop. I'm not really sure what's about to happen. What's about to pop up on screen. You know, this stream's always unpredictable.
Yeah, I would say. You know,
why are you guys starting early?
I mean, chat.
Why are you guys so early? What the hell is this?
We're right on time.
2 o'clock. That is early, I guess, if we're chronically late.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Sorry, I know that you're out there cheating on us. You know.
I didn't know this was like some kind of bit you guys had arranged, and Luke was about to like drop from the ceiling or something.
No. I did talk to somebody who shared an airplane with Luke last night and had some stories for me about
Airport McDonald's.
No. They were just on an airplane together. I don't know if they were
Dr. Otto.
I don't want to really say who they were, but like.
I did see one of the guests that was on Timcast on my plane randomly yesterday, which is weird.
This person liked you a lot. I'll say that, but they did say you need to find Christ if you're going to get married before you get to Costa Rica. So I think
Costa Rica.
I've heard that there's a big Christian community in Costa Rica. Christians and cryptos. Is that incorrect?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of
Christian cryptos.
there's a lot of missionary work there. Then Luke puts in the missionary work too, but he's used to a different kind. So I mean, I think
Get out of here. I'm gonna leave.
How's everyone doing today? It's War Wednesday. It's got some interesting. We got some lunatic driving their van into the White House, which seems to happen. Now, I don't know if it's, just a car accident or, every time the mainstream media is like, oh, van crashes White House, and you're like, it's 3 blocks away, and it was like a thing. So I don't know.
A drunk driver.
You
Right.
were burned by the synagogue shooting yesterday, which actually wasn't at a synagogue. It was just sort of in the vicinity of one.
Yeah, right. Now, yeah, synagogue at they just lied. They just said shooting at synagogue, and it was like, what? And then it was very obviously
around it, 3 blocks around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was nowhere near it. It was very, very odd. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I thought you're talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm seeing chat talk about Dragon Ball Z, but I saw this story this morning, and we also have an interview at the end of the show that I did as a pre-record just to make sure that it was clean. So that's the first time I've done that.
You don't trust us to interview people with you?
Well, no, I do. It was like last minute, and I was like, well, let's just record it together, and then I'll play it at the end. But I saw this. Let me see if I can share this. This is not a setup to a joke. It's an actual question. This segment, I want to say shout out, brought to you by Kalshi. This is Kalshi's website. You can use Kalshi to check odds or track sentiment. And this is the only place that you can trade on these kinds of events legally in all 50 states. There's a $10 promo for users who sign up with my link or code in the description, or it's just kalshi.com/quartering. What do we think? This says that Marco Rubio is the odds-on favorite in the 2028 presidential election. I find this surprising.
Yeah, I mean, this is according to the donor class. I mean, Marco Rubio always
the gambling class. This is based on the money. Oh, yeah. You're saying that's why people say that? Yeah.
Yeah, there was news coming out the last couple days that there was a big meeting with donors, and the donors are really impressed with Marco Rubio. Not as much as JD Vance here, as we have to remember a couple of years ago, Donald Trump came out and said Marco Rubio was a puppet of Marian Andelson. So if the big donor class is behind somebody, they're going to help them out tremendously. And I think that's why the poll numbers are going up here, because Marco Rubio has been shown as a good order follower. He has good marketing. He has good optics.
But he's also done good at his job. He's done good as a job.
He's still the same neocon that he always has been. And the establishment and the donor class loves their neocons.
So you think one of the reasons that you're seeing Marco Rubio's name come around really is the Marco Rubio gets another job meme.
The memes,
Luke's right. Like the donor influence in the RNC or DNC or any political class can have a major impact. But I think in terms of reinventing his image from little Marco back in the day, it really is this like Marco Rubio is given every job because he seems competent to President Trump. And if you were thinking who is the heir apparent, the guy who is being tasked with literally everything. That being said, JD Vance is a much more active vice president than Mike Pence was. You see him in a lot of places. He is getting his own, committees and stuff. I feel like personally it's a little early to tell, but it's notable that there are other people saying like, well, JD Vance is good, but Marco Rubio, how's that looking?
Yeah.
It may not be as straightforward as people think that the heir apparent to MAGA path is going to be.
My position here is, he would first of all, he would not beat JD Vance in a primary. Not happening. I think JD Vance is actually setting himself up to be a little bit more of that populist guy that people liked about Trump. I think JD Vance has been kind of quiet about Iran. I think he knows it's a hot button issue.
Well, I don't know if you saw. Sorry, you finished.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Interrupt you. Sorry, Barry. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but there's this reporting that Trump was basically saying like, well, me and JD Vance are a little, have a different theology on it. We're a little bit different.
He's not a fan.
it's not. Trump is specifically pressing as like, we don't totally disagree, but there's not tension. He said, I think the quote specifically was JD Vance was less enthusiastic about Iran, but that doesn't mean that there's like tension. And I think in some ways that does capture the scope of the support. I mean, we've referenced the fact that the immediate polls said that, you know, a huge percentage of Americans were just like, I don't know how I feel about this. And in some ways that sets JD Vance up not to be like Trump 2.0, but to be sort of the descendant of the MAGA movement.
Yeah, JD Vance has been very quiet about everything that's been kind of going on here in a very surprising way. We saw photos from the second Situation Room with Tulsi Gabbard and him kind of sitting there, which was kind of weird because Susie Wiles was sitting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago kind of calling the shots.
Well, we don't know. I mean, she is his chief of staff. So
I don't think it's weird that she was there.
Yeah, but no. But I'm saying if anyone should be there, it should be Tulsi Gabbard, the DNI chief, right? Right. But she was in a separate room with JD Vance, which was just kind of weird. Now, the New York Times did report that it was JD Vance that allegedly convinced Trump to go hard and big here with these strikes. Now, that's if you believe the New York Times. But again, JD Vance really hasn't made his position clear, as a lot of people are saying that this kind of decision to bomb Iran is going to be very detrimental for Republicans, just like we saw be with George W. Bush, which obviously set the Republicans back very significantly.
Yeah, I think I'll put a little spin on the hard and fast thing that JD Vance, add some context that would make sense to me. Let me add a few words before and after. And I feel like this might have been JD Vance's take. Like, if we're going to do it, go hard and get it done. You know, like that could have been his feedback. Like, get it done and get it over with. Don't do this little.
Because Trump was talking about limited strikes, and we don't know exactly. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, that may have been true, and then JD Vance probably like, well, if you're gonna fucking do it, do it. And I think that's, pardon my French, but I don't know. It's just, you know, if I had to bet on it or whatever, I don't know. But I feel like Vance, his feedback was probably more like, no more piddly, we won the war, and then go back to war again with them in 2 weeks. Like, oh, we got to get their nuclear facilities. Okay, we got their nuclear facilities. Well, so I have a feeling that he probably, if he doesn't like the war, then that's what he said. But I suppose we'll find out, you know, come election time. The specific
wording and reporting says that Vance advocated that if Trump strike Iran, he should pursue a larger strike rather than a smaller limited strike. Those are the exact kind of words from the New York Times.
Yeah, I mean, I think that supports my theory. You know, I think if he's probably like, well, if you're going to do it, fucking do it. Instead of diddly dicking around for 18 years, taking limited strikes, like, it's almost like just ripping the Band-Aid off. And if you're gonna, like, one of the lessons from the marketing world that I carry with me is like, if you're gonna fail fast. So like, I feel like if you're gonna get all this bad press, then get it done and get it over with. Don't drag this on until December and guarantee to lose the midterms. Yeah. You've seen Trump kind of signaling, like, it's funny because you can't believe anything like, you know, there's a tweet, Trump says the end of the war is near. And then the very next tweet was like, Trump signals the war could go for 4 more weeks. And it's like,
so you admit you don't know, internet.
Well, Trump kind of contradicts himself too. When he did that speech,
right?
Yeah, when he did that speech, he was like, "We're almost done, but we're just beginning." And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
He's his own like fog of verbal warfare, you know? Like, you just don't know.
Well, part of it is you can't, like, the idea is like, oh well, yeah, we're gonna end the war in a week. Why would you tell your, you know, the people you're at war with, oh, we're going to finish in X, Y, and Z amount of time. Like, it just wouldn't, it's just not good warfare. I just don't.
But listen, give Trump credit where credit is due. It took 20 years to replace Al-Qaeda with Al-Qaeda. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump replaced the Ayatollah with a more radical Ayatollah in 9 days.
Well, that guy, I can't believe he's still alive.
He's in China and Russia. That's why he's alive.
Yeah, right? yeah. He's in exile, right? Yeah, there's no way. Here's this other topic that I wanted to talk about here. Kind of the biggest part of, the negative feedback, that I have over the war already is obviously this school thing. I do want to mention, given its spicy nature and given the likelihood of, people, you just never know, with finances and stuff. Shout out to this another sponsor, Rumble Wallet. You may have seen the conversations happening online lately. Censorship is back. It certainly is around this war. I mean, I feel like I've seen nothing. People are like, well, you're missing this, you're missing that. I don't see anything. Platforms are controlling narratives and pushing the stuff they want us to see. We need to fight back. Rumble is the only company that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is challenging big tech censorship, but on the other, they've introduced something that will give us protection from big banks shutting us off. Banks can cancel our accounts and freeze our cards. That's why they launched Rumble Wallet, a wallet that no one can cancel, and a wallet that supporters can use instantly to tip creators like us without any middlemen taking cuts. The Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's yours, only yours to protect your future and family. You can buy and save digital assets like Bitcoin, Tether Gold, and now USAT. Tether's US regulated stablecoin in one place. Tether Gold is real gold on the blockchain with ownership of physical gold bars. USAT keeps your money steady against inflation. It's not only a wallet to buy and save, but allows you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button. There'll be no fees when you tip their channels or others, and they receive the money instantly, unlike other platforms where you have to wait for payouts. So support your favorite creators by clicking the tip button on the Rumble channel, or go to wallet.rumble.com, or download Rumble Wallet today and open an account and step away from the big banks for good. Wallet.rumble.com, or search Rumble on the app stores. I like Rumble. The Rumble Wallet's the only Bitcoin I own, and I think Ethereum. So shout out to the people that tip the channel with that. But it's looking more and more like the US did hit this school.
Yeah.
There was a tweet from Colin Rugg put out that says, basically, here, let me pull up. The United States is responsible for the strike on Iranian elementary school. An ongoing military investigation has found, according to the New York Times. I'm sure the U.S. government will deny this, but Iranian officials say 175 people were killed, most of them kids. Okay, well, I'm not going to trust what Iran says. But officers at Central Command created the target coordinates for a strike using outdated data provided by the Defense Intelligence Agency. The location of the elementary school was formerly part of an adjacent Iranian base. I don't know. Obviously, this is a massive blunder.
Yeah, this was the base where the Iranian military sent their children to, right?
Yeah, okay,
so most
that
of
makes
the
sense.
children were related to the Iranian military.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, because again, when this first happened, I was like, this is awful. And I reported on it, and I got attacked viciously, being like, how dare you? It was Iran that did it. Trump's statements on this haven't been good. He talks about any country having Tomahawk missiles. The New York Times is reporting that the investigation has concluded and the United States is responsible. And it makes sense. You know why? Because it was a double tap, right?
Yeah,
and if it was an
was.
accident,
Yeah.
I could have been like, hey, the Iranian missile sucked and it just accidentally hit their own target. I'm like, and I was like, and I even said that during the beginning. I was like, it
that
could be
has
an accident
happened,
by
the way. We
And it
saw
has
that
happened, yeah.
with the Ukraine war. There was like, oh, they fired this missile, but it turned out it was like a misfired Ukrainian missile,
missile
into Poland or something like that.
Poland
Yeah,
was bombed, but it was bombed by the Ukrainian defensive missiles.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And then automatically Ukraine was like, declare NATO Article 5. Poland
Right.
needs to fight Russia
False
now.
flag.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
hold on, wait a minute there. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, wait, that's our munition that killed Polish farmers. So when it comes to this particular scenario, this is the timeline of events. We have this Tomahawk advanced U.S. missile system, which Donald Trump said any country could have, hit this school, right? So I'm like, okay, the fact here that really stood out to me was that after that shockwave, 40 minutes afterwards, the survivors literally gather inside of the auditorium with the rest of the survivors, the kids. All the kids were sent into this auditorium, and then their parents were called to pick up the survivors. And it was an organization effort to try to make sense of what just happened, to try to get the kids back to their parents. Then that auditorium was targeted and hit again.
Yeah.
Because it was a double strike. it was previously a facility that was used by the Iranian military, but on Google Maps, it was literally girls' school. So clearly they didn't do their due diligence. Clearly the person who did it, or whether it was an AI that said, yeah, we got to destroy these soldiers and we got to make sure that we destroy their morale by taking out their lives of their children. That's also a possibility. Whether it's an AI or a human error, that person shouldn't be in charge of making those judgments or calls ever again. They should be forced resigned, forced fired immediately. 175 innocent small children.
Allegedly.
I mean,
let me put this out there.
We saw the videos and photos. I mean, it's not allegedly. It's pretty much confirmed. Like 7 to 12-year-olds bombed twice with Tomahawk missiles. I mean, you're going to have a bunch of casualties. It's pretty much the case here that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. Look, obviously, if it's true, it's bad. But what I notice is there's a lot of people on like the dissident right that are just taking everything Iran says as an absolute fact. Like even Chunk Yeager was like,
"This is a U.S. investigation."
Yeah, well, if they come out, yes, obviously this needs to be disavowed. But it's not uncommon for remember when they're like, oh, they hit a hospital, and then turned out, well, it actually wasn't a hospital, or I don't know exactly the details of it. It's horrible if true. And yeah, I mean, if somebody's in charge of, that, they should be court-martialed, and, I 100% support that.
At least fired immediately.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
I think there's a big probability it could have been AI that says, you know what, we got to destroy these soldiers. And I think there's a big possibility that could happen. Again, I sent you the article here where you could actually see the photos of the mass graves here. So, I mean, we can't confirm it even more here. Like it's pretty much.
Well, hold on, Luke. I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Palestine has been faking dead bodies for years in these same videos. Like, let's not pretend that isn't a thing that happens. So I'm not saying it disproves it. Did you put it in the private chat? Okay. I'm not saying it disproves it, but I am saying, Palestine had the same guy, dead in about 100 videos. I mean, it became a meme. So, I mean,
the U.S. Central Command confirmed a lot of the details here, right?
Yeah, right. Well, that's
believe them, right? I understand if there's like a fake AI video, which there's a bunch showing American soldiers running away, which are not true. But like, it's pretty clear. U.S. CENTCOM confirmed a lot of this, and it's awful and it's horrible, and it's one of the kind of results of war that always makes me hate war and be anti-war.
Yeah, it's hard to. There's always going to be collateral damage, and I don't mean to minimize that. And you're right. This is the stuff like kids getting blown up. Not good. It's hard to. I mean, Hannah Claire. I mean, obviously, if true, full disavowal, and this is why you don't go to war, and why you have to be really, really careful. Yeah. If CENTCOM is confirming it, then I don't really. There's not much else.
I totally get what you're saying, where it's like, if this happened, let's say it was a former base that got converted to an elementary school, so there's bad intelligence about it, it's not accurately being represented. If Iran is exploiting this, obviously, for their own personal appeal, like, there's a lot of sides of this where I can understand taking the information with a grain of salt. Honestly, the thing that comes to mind right now, and like, I don't know if this is just like Lent talking or what, is like, I feel extremely sad for the person who made this call. Like, if it's not an AI generated tip that was incorrect, like, I just can't imagine being the intelligence officer who thought they had, and I'm assuming the circumstance here, right? I thought they had valid information about an important target, potentially in this, in this conflict, and it turns out that it was a school and that they are responsible for the deaths of lost children. Like, I really pray for.
Or it turns out that Iran piled a bunch of kids into this building 1 hour before the strikes. I mean, either
way, though, like, even if you had good intelligence and then children were brought into the building, like, just that person, and assuming it wasn't malicious, which I have no reason to assume that, like, that must just be the weightiest thing to experience. And it is one of the devastations of war. It's the loss of life of young people, and also, the impact it has on the military officers, like, so, I have no other word for it, but soul.
Yeah.
Well, civilians always pay the highest price of war. And if we look at how the Israeli-American military has been conducting this war, there have been a lot of civilian targets hit here. We're talking about their water desalination plants, which is going to deny them clean water.
Yeah.
We're talking bombings of their oil refineries, which are literally spreading toxic, cancer-causing chemicals on 10 million people in a heavily populated area. If you remember Gulf War syndrome, a lot of medical professionals attribute that to Saddam Hussein blowing up his oil refineries in an isolated area where troops were in. Mm-hmm. We just did that to 10 million people that are going to be dealing with Gulf War syndrome in a heavily populated area.
That's a huge leap. At least you say potentially.
Be raining on them. No. I mean, it's pretty clear. Like the people there are being poisoned and are going to have to deal with Gulf War syndrome type of symptoms, right?
Maybe. It isn't clear to me. I mean, we don't know that it was the oil that led to Gulf War syndrome. That's not proven. That's an assumption, right?
Some medical professionals do attribute that, right? And it's pretty clear when you got oil coming from the sky raining on you, you're not going to have the best.
That's not good. Yeah.
Here, right?
This says Gulf.
It's a known carcinogen.
Yeah, Gulf War syndrome is primarily linked to sublethal amounts of organophosphate nerve agents, particularly sarin. So it is not related. It is not officially connected to oil at all. Sarin gas and cyclosarin gas released atmospherically during coalition attacks on Iraqi chemical weapons. So you're partially right. Like blowing up these chemical weapons factories, allegedly. Now, you might say, well, they're lying. And it was oil. Sure. I don't know. I can't disprove that. That's Wikipedia. So,
yeah. Well, there's a bunch of other stuff would also, if I'm wrong, I will correct the record, and I'm not always right. Right.
Yeah.
But there's also depleted uranium that played a role in this. I think it's pretty clear that there's a lot of different factors here during this war. My main argument that I'm making here is that our kind of warfare hasn't been trying to win the hearts of minds of the Iranian people that were there allegedly to liberate. We're getting rid of their clean water. We're poisoning their environment. And this school bombing also just highlights how it's going to be very difficult to get a proper regime change that we've been after. That's not going to be more radical. That's not going to be more angry. That's not going to have significant blowback that we're going to now have to deal with. Right. And all of this could have been avoided.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a school getting blown up, I would say, generally will shift, like Hannah Claire mentioned. You know, all the people in those initial polls that were like, I'm not sure, you know, that's going to shift some people. You know, that's definitely going to shift some people. I do want to move into this hilarious fake news. CNN, again, tries to claim that Zohran Mamdani was the target of the Muslim terror attack.
Up next, two Republicans say Muslims don't belong here after an attempted terror attack against
Jeremy,
New York's mayor Zohran Mamdani. And
what? Say that again?
They said two Republicans say Muslims don't belong here. I said, Jeremy, is that you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Republican, but no, they do not belong here. I think that, you know, and by the way, they corrected it in a tweet. Let's see if they correct it on air. You know, I want to correct something I said last night. The bombs from New York City over the weekend by ISIS-inspired attackers were thrown into a crowd of anti-Muslim protesters, not specifically targeted at Mayor Mamdani. That's even kind of a mealy-mouthed apology. They were it was 100%
as if they
not
were defending
targeted.
the Muslims. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was 100%. And then they say, well, the wording was inaccurate. No, you literally tried to lie and you got caught. And she's getting obviously ruthlessly destroyed for this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off the video.
That image, I think that's the image of the year with that leftist guy saying,
oh, yeah, right.
Let them all in. They're all... Stop. And then the guy literally jumps over him with an improvised explosive device. Now, the guy was allegedly inspired by ISIS, which the Iranians actually have been fighting against. Yeah. So the Iranians have been fighting ISIS in the region. Lots of people are expecting like a Shiite threat, but the Sunni threat is still kind of real, as we're seeing here. There was a Shia attack in Austin, the town that I'm in right now, that killed American citizens. And now
Senegalese,
there's new
man.
reports coming out that the FBI
But
is
he
warning
was,
that the
hold on a sec. Let me just add some context there.
Yep.
That guy was loyal to Iran. He had printed pictures to the Iranian leaders.
Yep.
He had an Iranian support shirt on when he did it. So I just want to add that context.
The flag
And their
underneath.
flag. Yes,
Yeah.
right. Which is
So
weird.
that
I don't know why
an
he was loyal to Iran. He was never from there. He is from Senegal. And but yeah, that one was definitely a very clear like counter to the Iran strikes. What I thought was interesting is the terror attack in New York City was not. It was a response to an anti-Muslim protest. It had nothing to do with the strikes in Iran. I mean, based on everything that the two people that did it have said, they've spoken at length, and they're, you know, everything. And at no point have they said this is because of Iran. In fact, they said, well, if we didn't do it, someone else would do it because we stand up for our religion. It was really just about the anti-Islam gathering.
Yeah, and it was literally about an ISIS, Sunni, Wahhabist, Islamic type of, you know, religious organization that is really happy with the U.S. going after the Shiites, because the Shiites and the Sunnis have been fighting in the Middle East for quite a long time. So obviously the ISIS, Sunni kind of Wahhabist crowd is very happy with everything that's happening right now. And it's kind of weird because they're the ones launching terror attacks and we're fighting on their side. It's like, come on.
But what do you guys make of, I mean, by the way, this is already out of the news cycle.
Which I think is too bad, right? Like she put up that tweet. I know X is really popular for people probably who watch this podcast and stuff, but there are lots of regular Americans who might consume CNN but not see X. So therefore, unless it's issued on air, there isn't a correction made. I mean, at what point is this part of the collapse of journalism? Not that it's so ethical anymore anyways, but like the fact that she can just be like, oh, I kind of said something wrong and I don't know, like
it was the wording, guys.
It was the wording. But this seems to be the theme, right? Like that's essentially what Zoran Mamdani is doing. He is trying to spin a narrative that this was actually about him and sort of suggest that it was done by
we're so glad we weren't at home at the time, Hannah Claire. I
already ranted about this on Monday, so I'm not trying to bore everybody. But like it is bizarre to me that you could hear his statement and think he was basically talking about something else, you know, because it's like it's as if he lives in a different reality, which maybe he just does. Maybe it's too impossible for him to spin this guy running down the street and lobbing an IED. So he has to just continue to be like, actually, everyone's against me because I am the first Muslim mayor.
Yeah, and at no point is he throwing it near the mansion or anything like that. I mean, he threw it at 5 cops. That's why he dropped it at the feet of 5 police officers. Zoran, and I'm seeing a lot of pushback from
Zoran
cops
Mamdani
too.
is like, it's not about law enforcement, it's about me.
Yeah, I'm seeing some like Nick Shirley's been interviewing some New York City cops and stuff like that, and like. I would not be surprised if you see Zoran Mamdani recalled by the end of the year. I don't know how that process works, if they even can, but like, I mean, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like he is just, you know, there's a
dangerous threat.
Yes. I mean, he hosted some like Terry adjacent or Terry sympathizer that very night for dinner. And like his wife is out there liking posts, celebrating the October 7th attacks. Like, what in the fuck were these people thinking? What were they thinking when they elected this guy? And like,
they were thinking, he said he'd give us rent control and free groceries,
which he gave neither. And he's going to raise the rent because he wants to increase property taxes by 10%. You think landlords are going to be like, they twirl their mustache. I guess I'll make 10% less this year. Meh. No, they're just going to
barely surviving.
So I will.
Yeah, they're just going to pass it on to everybody.
Right.
And this tweet too. What'd you think of this tweet?
Crazy.
You wanna give me your best Hannah Claire media personality read of this tweet.
Oh man, well, I can't read anything without getting really tongue-tied, but it's just okay. So it's like the 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. But in less than an hour, their lives would be drastically changed as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zoran Mamdani's home.
It could have happened to anybody.
These just random teenagers from Pennsylvania. Anything could have happened. You know what's crazy? This is a whole line of like, their lives would be drastically changed. by themselves. Like they did the thing that changed their lives. They planned it. They drove there with the intention. They had another explosive in their car. It's not like they were just like part of a hit and run or something. Like
they had a facility. They had a facility, a storage unit where they were making more bombs, and more bombs were found. It's like, oh, it could have happened to anybody. Like, boy, they could have just been in New York, in Central Park, having a hot dog. But instead, they just threw some bombs.
Jeremy, they're just bopping along.
Yeah, somewhere between catching a Broadway play, somehow a bomb was placed in their hand, and they got arrested for it. Like, how about it is so weird. Now, thankfully, this stuff is getting pretty crushed. Like it's, but I mean, I bet you it's not on Blue Sky. I bet you it's not on Reels or Threads.
Which like they had to. They can't like leave it up. Like it's inaccurate. But also like in some ways, where's the apology for this one? Like I don't understand.
Well, they got community noted into oblivion. I know that much. But yeah, I mean, like I kind of feel like a dual. I feel two kind of ways about this. Like I do like that the media, there was a time not that long ago when this tweet would have got like 50,000 likes and never got community noted. Mm-hmm. So there is, I mean, that is kind of a good thing. There is a time when CNN never would have even apologized for quote unquote miswording. And I actually believe that this dumbass newsreader, prediction, she will apologize on air tonight. I have like, there's a new sheriff in town at CNN. Like they're not, I think that she will apologize tonight. Of course, it'll be another like non-apology, like, oh, I got tongue-tied and I meant whatever, but she will address it. Like, there's just no way she can't.
Right. I wonder if the era of alternative media is sort of the biggest obstacle here. Like you're saying, the community note made it so that like you can't put up a post and just have it sit there and have people see it and be like, oh, I guess that's what happened, because the community note immediately says like that this context about these peaceful teenagers totally wrong. This analyst put up her apology tweet, but the tweet immediately, everything underneath it is like, but are you gonna say it on live on air? Are you gonna say this live on air? Are you gonna say like it's almost impossible to ignore. And there is enough crossover between mainstream and alternative media, both like podcasting and different smaller independent outlets, X, things like that, where the echo of like, but will she say it on air? Like, I almost wonder if you'll see a spike in viewership because people will tune. People
they'll want to see
watch
it.
CNN are going to tune in to be like, so is she going to apologize on air? And if she doesn't, that's a whole other news cycle.
And now people just do ridiculous stuff just to get attention and clicks, which is just wild here. But that's why I think it's important to be honest. Like, I'm not a big fan of authority or government or police officers, but we got to give the NYPD credit here. Like, they saw a major incident going down of an IED, and they decided to rush in and actually risk their lives for the general safety of the general public. Give credit where credit's due. Those cops were brave, and they did the right thing.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but I also wonder if they knew even what the fuck it was.
But that's the thing. Like, they rushed, even though they didn't know what it was.
Yeah, they didn't know what it was. Yeah.
That's what I find interesting.
They saw smoke. They saw the guy light it up.
Yeah, he lit it right in front of them.
And throw something that was on fire.
Thank goodness.
Like, we don't understand. Like, imagine if that bomb went off. Imagine how many people would have been hurt, how many people would have been injured.
You would have had half a dozen dead cops, for sure. It was right at their feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So imagine if that would have gone off. Right, how horrible and tragic that would have been in the scenes and the gore and the insanity. So I mean, it's like, I wish we would spend more time doing targeted surveillance of these individuals and finding these individuals, because there's always signs that these people
haven't heard it.
This type of
Luke,
stuff.
can you believe we haven't heard the line yet?
Yeah, he was on the radar.
How is? I mean. I swear I am.
Is it better or worse that we haven't heard it? Because if they weren't on the radar, does that make you feel like it's more competent? Or do you think
I almost feel like
sneaky?
I almost feel like they know the meme now, so they don't want to say it. But like, these people were visiting ISIS websites, traveling to train with ISIS in Turkey and Saudi Arabia. I refuse to believe they weren't on our radar. Let me use a perfect example. Yesterday, I covered this story. I covered it in like on my Jeremy Hambley channel. It comes out later, but a teacher sent a message to 2 private people on Snapchat after a student closed her laptop while she was like working on a document and it didn't save her document. So she sent a sarcastic message to her 2 friends in a private DM group saying, "Oh man, should I kill him?" And sent a little like gun emoji or water gun emoji. She was arrested within 12 hours. That message was automatically sent to the FBI. The FBI contacted local police, and she was thrown in jail, where I'm not sure if she's even been released yet, for an obvious joke. So you mean to tell me that these guys are cruising ISIS websites and the FBI doesn't know?
Well, the FBI was like, it's
Usually-
cultural,
they're
and we're not
usually
allowed to
intel.
judge.
They're
Yeah.
usually feds. If you look at the alleged
honeypots.
if you look at Trump's alleged Iranian assassin, the FBI let him into the country. Right.
Yep.
That's another
Yep.
fact that people aren't bringing up.
They knew.
If you look
They
at
were
the
already
9/11
watching
hijackers-
him. Yes, Luke.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. They knew who he was and they let him in anyway.
No, they made sure to let him
Yeah.
in when he was denied entry. And they're like, yeah, come on in. You want to assassinate Trump? Come on in. This is why we can't trust the intelligence agencies with any of this stuff, because they have their fingerprints all over this type of stuff. Even with the 9/11 hijackers, they were denied entry. Michael Springmeier at the Jeddah consulate was saying the CIA came in and forced me to approve these guys to come into America. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, who are these guys connected to? And, people make jokes. There's people in the United Kingdom that went to Florida and shot firearms that were like detained, arrested for like criminal offenses.
Yes.
All right. Because they posted something on their social media, because they had a photo in their phone of them shooting a firearm. You're telling me these guys that trained and trained to be with ISIS and
took
looked at
multiple
ISIS
trips
propaganda?
to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Australia, known training grounds of ISIS. Yeah, our FBI is like, oh, well, who could have foreseen this? They knew. Yeah. I bet you that within the next like couple weeks, this is going to come out that they were on watch lists, or they were, it's just, it lends a lot of credence to the people that are like, they were working for the CIA or whatever the case may be.
Because a lot of times they were.
Yeah, right.
Vast majority of the times they were.
Yeah. Couple of viewer messages. Masters Prez says, I hate that take that if civilians die in war, stop that. That's a dumb take unless you want people like Iran or ISIS or any way to win. I know it's I mean, look, if you're at never any war ever, then that's a fine position to have. But if you're like, we're going to war and my expectation is that no civilians will die, well, that's an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, civilians will die, but then this is only going to kill more civilians. And more importantly, the argument that I'm making is that it's going to lead to blowback here in America.
Yeah. Yes, it will.
Americans will be targeted. American citizens will now be dead because of these actions, which are reciprocal. And I don't.
Well,
want
they are
any
in
of that.
Austin. 2 people died, because of it. Ninja says, or Ninja Coco says, influencers refuse to share this one idea to fix corruption government, body cams and politicians for transparency and powerful autonomous grand juries. Yeah, I mean, it would be difficult because, they're talking about classified information and how would you, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but that'll be very difficult. And 8Ball says, could I get your 3 opinions on the Save America Act? Do you support the amendment that makes electronic ID mandatory, understanding that the CCP uses it for social credit scoring system? Yes, I support it. It's very easy to support it, but not support digital ID. I mean, by the way, if you got one of these, I got news for you. I don't know. I mean, I guess go ahead. You guys share your take on it.
Less AI surveillance with unsecure government databases that routinely get hacked, the better. And listen, there's a way to get like voter ID done without giving up all of our privacy. Because what's going to happen, this is a trap, right? We saw this in Australia. We're seeing this in the United Kingdom. They took a step back in the United Kingdom, but in Australia, if you want to go on the internet, you have to upload your ID.
Correct.
And then you get to go on the internet, and then they're banning VPNs.
Not
So
even
you
us.
have to be
They
registered.
passed it somewhere else too, just recently. I forget
They
where.
tried to do it in the UK, and
Yeah.
Palantir even pulled out and said, yeah, that's a little too egregious there. As
Yeah.
of course, all of this is being done in order to, quote, protect the children, when in reality, it creates a draconian kind of database system that eviscerates any type of privacy freedoms, which is extremely dangerous because the end goal here by the globalists and the World Economic Forum is to track, trace, and database and have no semblance of privacy at all, which is extremely dangerous for any free society.
Yeah, I feel sort of neutrally on the SAVE Act in that there are like the balance of pros and cons kind of weighed together. There are things in it that I don't love, but I do think that we need to have more serious election reform. And I think it's really important that American citizens are the only people voting in elections. So I'm kind of waiting to see like more debate in Congress on it. It's always annoying to me when you have an important bill and then all of the subtext is like, but are you sticking your own
That's the
whatever
problem, right?
in
Are you
there? And
pragmatic or are you like, I think like, I'm looking at like practically like, well, it's the only chance we have to get any form of digital ID in place. So let's just do it. But then it's like, okay, we do it. But then there's blowback, like with the Patriot Act. Like, yeah, there's certain things in there. Okay. But also, warrantless wiretaps and, you know, all this other bullshit that never went away. And it's like, do you dance with the girl you brought or do you forever do nothing?
It's why when like Thomas Massey voted against it and he was like, look, I'm voting against the provision to bring it to the floor because there are things I object with. Like, I think that's a responsible way to act. But at the same time, something has to be done or should be done, I should say, before midterms. Now, is the SAVE Act the perfect solution? Again, I'm sort of, I don't know yet, but if it's the one on the table, we've got to make this, it makes me feel like we have to make this solution work.
Yeah. I mean, I think all three of us would
include like taking things out, to be clear.
Yeah, I think all three of us would prefer single issue bills and you know, and some guardrails around what this process actually looks like. But I do think, now I don't want to be that guy because you guys know I'm not, you know, Chief Black Pillar is Luke and it's not even close. But like, if you guys think even for a second that the United States government doesn't have all your information already, like I've got some amazing swampland to sell you in Florida. Like,
no, I get that, but I also think there is a like, just because they probably do doesn't mean you should just be like, well, so I give up. Like, I feel like that's the mindset that leads people astray. You're
right. But I mean, you're right. That's why I like the whole.
Show us your entire Google search history right now. Then
I've already done that. Haven't you been watching Twitter? But I think that like, you know, ultimately, yeah, I would prefer the SAVE Act be this: ID is required. Physical ID is required and some way to check whether or not that physical ID is real or not. That's like the SAVE Act version that I would like. No same day voter registration. You know, that should go away. All the other stuff, I don't, I don't like it and I don't want it. You know, I think that's interesting. And everybody's favorite, Luke's waifu, Pam Bondi, I guess, has moved into hiding now. She's into secure military housing amid threats from cartels and outrage over the Epstein files. I do feel like basically all these people should be in secure military housing anyway. The idea that you can be the Attorney General of the United States and like be living across the street, you know what I mean? Like, it's always weird to me that these people like would even live in like a normal neighborhood.
See, I like wish that we lived in a world where that was fine, you know?
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah, I agree, but it
makes me sadder that we're like, oh man, we got to lock all of the elites up to keep them safe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, anytime there's this show me threat, you know, we're having threats, so therefore I have to do something. My reaction is always show me the threats. Like, is it an email from like 420 Bong Blazer, you know, frog that says, you know, you're protecting pedophiles, so I'm gonna, you know, or is it a credible threat? Like that Iranian goofball that they arrested, never even he seemed like a total fucking idiot. Like, but then again, so did Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Yeah.
So,
but he was Pakistani. He wasn't even Iranian. He was
correct.
He was Pakistani.
He was like recruited by the IRGC or something like that, and yeah, it was he was like a patsy. And all you have to do is watch that. Remember that interview? I think we watched on the show. Luke, I think, was there for that too. Like, they released like the body cam footage, and he was like a total bumbling idiot. And they're like interviewing him in his hotel room. I think I was like, this guy. Even at the time, I was like, this guy was never gonna, like. It felt like weird propaganda to soft launch a war with Iran. But then again, Thomas Matthew Crooks, we still don't know diddly dick about him. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I would say that Tyler Robinson was no super mega genius either. He was, having sex with a furry, yet he pulled off the most devastating assassination in the United States in 50 years. So I don't know. Maybe I honestly think it's, well, I don't know. To me, it's probably outside of maybe MLK, one of the biggest, the ripple effect from this is bigger than probably even, like JFK should be up there too, obviously, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
I was going to say, I feel like JFK is.
Yeah, because there was a ripple effect with JFK that was seismic. There was, I don't know, because I'm not as well read on like the ripple effect of what happened to MLK, but because we saw it all happen, the ripple effect of Charlie Kirk's assassination has the Republican Party in shambles. Like,
yep.
Would we have even gone to war with Iran if Charlie was in Trump's ear anymore? I don't know. Like there's all sorts of stuff. I think probably not, because he was against it, right?
He was going to the White House. He was having specific phone calls with Donald Trump saying, do not do this. The base does not want this. It was Charlie Kirk that got Donald Trump elected. Now, he would have made the kind of very sincere, he walked a very fine line. And if you look at his previous
he wouldn't have turned on him.
He did it in a very respectful way, where he didn't attack Donald Trump, but he made Donald Trump realize the severity of the actions that he would commit for the Iran strikes, which clearly he was against. He was walking a very fine line that's very hard to walk. And his comments were right on the money, saying, this is not going to win the young vote. This is not going to win
kids
the
don't
people
want
in the
war.
middle. Like, we need them to build coalitions to get things done. And we're not going to get things done if we keep blowing up our base by breaking campaign promises to them.
Get your baby some French fries, Hannah Claire. I heard
That's
that.
not from my house.
That's not Hannah. That's that baby here.
Oh, okay. All right. Luke has a baby in the back room. Congrats! He had his deadline, baby. Right? Remember, your deadline was he's ahead of schedule.
Not really. I'm late. 11 days.
It was supposed to be March, but a nice Costa Rican baby. Be very, very nice.
Little beach baby, so cute.
Oh, beach baby. Yeah, that should be cool. The big war got me.
Big baby broke you up.
Big baby, yeah. I think that it's very fair to criticize Trump on Iran. I have definitely shifted away from the I'm not so sure about this to I kind of don't like it, and with each day, the upheaval in America, I'm shifting more and more to like, all right, I really don't like it. And, again, we can't go back in history and not do it. So my only cope at this point is like, get it over with. Like, I don't think we can't, this says you won't get this.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Someone in Chelsea, you won't get this done listening to these influencers talk about bad things that have already been done. But I mean, that's what I'm just saying. I agree. Like, I think right now you either got, I mean, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You got to finish it now. You can't just say, well, we'll just stop now. So now you have to finish it.
Even mean? Because it looks like the Iranians are not going to be
finishing. It means a democratically elected leader that is ushered in with U.S. support. That's what has to happen. You asked me what finishing it looks like. I didn't say whether or not it would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying those goals are not realistic.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean,
it never was. I think the best thing we could do is, just get out and not promote this nonsense and this insanity.
They could just pull out and say, well, we're handing it back to the Iranian people. See you later.
No,
they could do that, and then
won't.
then it'll just turn into Afghanistan again. You know.
Also, like they aren't going to do that because it would just look like they realized they made
it would be admitting a mistake.
Right?
Yes.
But the other way to not admit a mistake, a lot of military strategists are talking about boots on the ground or the use of nuclear weapons, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and now we're allegedly, Benny Johnson was talking about how we're using space laser weapons allegedly. I don't know if that's true or confirmed, but it looks like they're
not talking about space lasers, or are they talking about the missiles that go into the lower Earth orbit? Is that
what they're talking about? Yeah.
Okay. Those aren't space lasers, but he may have said they were space lasers because, you know, God bless him. It's Benny. So, you know, I mean, but yeah, we do have missiles like, I mean, all basically international, what do they call like intercontinental ballistic ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, I believe also go into like low Earth orbit before they come back down. It's not outer space. But yeah, I'm sure he said space lasers because that's a funnier, a funnier. Yeah. What kind of pizza did you order when you got that kid, Luke? Chat wants to know. Is it a cheese pizza? Podesta,
okay.
Is it anchovies or is it a burnt pizza? Does it have a lot of black olives on it?
Extra beef jerky.
Beef jerky on pizza. That's a different. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I was like, beef jerky on pizza would be fucking gnarly. Like, it's already dry. But I forgot about the pizza thing, or the jerky thing. Also in the news, you know, Democrats flip another New Hampshire House seat in a special election. This would be the second seat flipped. Is that right? Second seat flipped, or was it just? I think this is the second seat flipped.
I think it's at least a second. There might be another. I mean, the thing is, we're just getting our wave of like primary and special elections. Like they just had the one for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. I think this story is interesting, and I know Luke has liked the state of New Hampshire as well. New Hampshire is this funny state where it's totally controlled by Republicans right now. The Republican governor, Republican, both chambers of their government, but they vote for Kamala Harris. It's an unusual state in that sense. The person's name is Bobby Goldman, won a House seat for like the state level House seat that was held by a Republican, but it doesn't tip the scales. Like they still control it. On the other hand, I have this ongoing fascination with, are we becoming like a more, I don't want to say moderate, but like more purple. There are positions that I think people hold that break party lines, and that's much more normal than it was maybe 5 years ago. So overall, is this like an indication that you'll not be able to count on the parties to perform the ways that we think they do? Oh, you know, they voted for Trump in the up ticket presidential race. That means that there's no way that Democrats will win any seats, and vice versa.
Well, I think, you know, any special elections going on right now in battleground states will be bad for Republicans because kids don't want to get drafted. And if I was 18 right now, I'd be like, yo, I don't want any part of this war or conflict or whatever you want to call it. It's just like how the Democrats won a lot of Supreme Court rulings, like on the state level, because, you know, kids love their abortions. And that's how in Wisconsin we had a Republican Supreme Court and we lost because my abortions, and Gen Z showed up in record numbers. You're going to see that in these runoff elections, these special elections and stuff like that. And
do you think or like anti-war, no draft is also basically activating voting line for young voters as well, regardless of party?
Yeah. By the way, April 7th, Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. Get out and vote, and because the kids will, the baby murderers definitely will. By the way, why don't you guys let the people know where they can find your content? It's been a while since I gave you guys a shout out, and I know that there are people that agree with Luke, there are people that agree with Hannah Claire, there are people that hate me, but you might not know. You already know where to find me. So where do you find them?
I think I'm getting a lot of the extra. Sorry, go ahead, ladies.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you can find me on Rumble, YouTube, and X. I'm Hannah Claire B in all of those places. I'm HannahClaire.B on Instagram. And yeah, I'll video up at the end of the week.
I think I'm getting more hate than you, though, Jeremy, to be quite honest.
It's like 60-40.
I like it that way. You want to
It's
be
okay.
motivated person on
And
the
it's
panel.
fine. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the input. I just kind of like to remain consistent on my core principles and values.
You have been
that
consistent.
I've had since 2003.
Yeah.
It's just a little frustrating on my part. Like if you look at a lot of my older videos, like there's a lot of predicting this type of ratchet up of situations. I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but like I wasn't, always pretty clear, but the picture that we painted was pretty much the same picture that we're dealing with for a very long time. So it's a little frustrating dealing with that. But yeah, check out my work. I released a video with David Icke 12 years ago where we literally talk about the Russian war, the Iranian war, literally before it started 12 years ago. So check that out, youtube.com/wearechanged. Go into popular and just check out that David Icke video I did with him, because we predicted a lot of this insanity 12 years ago, very eerily accurately. So go check that out, youtube.com/wearechanged. I'll put it in the chat. And thanks for allowing me to do that.
Yeah. And I did an interview. I was going to have him on as a guest, but it's a little bit of change of pace. We talk a little bit about a topic. I'm going to have him on the show proper as a guest because I had a lot of fun talking to him. This is a guy that fights against child trafficking and also has like a holistic side to his business. If you've been on Rumble, you've probably been seeing him all over, but our interview is a little more, I think, entertaining and interesting. And so I'm going to play that now and then come back and check in on you guys and see how you're doing. And then I'll let my co-host take the day off. But I'll be back after this. And then we'll be back tomorrow at 2 Eastern with Melanie Mack and Hannah Claire for Astrocast. And but yeah, so we'll check this out. If you guys if you hate the energy of pre-recorded, I'll just do them live from now on. But I just thought this would be a little easier in case we had to edit anything out, but we actually didn't. So just pretty much all that. So
well, you still could be in the chat responding to people.
I will be. Yep, I'm still going to be in the chat, and I'll be in chat with you guys.
Trying something new. Look at you. So experimental.
Yeah, we'll try it out. So check this out, and I'll be back. Oh, and I want to bring him on when we can arrange it for a live interview. But I got a chance to sit down with Jonathan Otto. He's an investigative journalist, and he talks about and looks into the root causes of like chronic diseases like cancer and autoimmune disease, and how accessible and affordable at-home therapies can deliver real results. I know a lot of my viewers are into, homeopathic solutions and getting off the kind of the pharmacy wheel. And we got to talking a lot, and I'm going to bring him on again because he also works he works hard against human trafficking and so many things like that. And for him, what we talked about today was red light therapy. It's something I've talked about on the show a lot, and he revealed kind of to me red light therapy as a game changer for symptoms prevention, hopelessness. His mission, of course, is to end suffering, and that resonated with me. And he talks about a lot of the studies in specific, backed by thousands of studies, combating things like thyroid disease, cancer, autoimmunity, chronic pain, joint and back pain, all sorts of stuff like that. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Here it is. We've talked about red light therapy a lot on the show, and I had an opportunity to bring on Jonathan Otto, who's from myredlight.com, and ask him some actual functional questions. I thought I'd start with an easy softball for you. What are the benefits? We hear a lot about red light therapy. What are the tangible benefits that most people can kind of wrap their head around?
Absolutely, Jeremy. The benefits are everything from the cosmetics. People know about making yourself look younger. That's easy, like the wrinkles, the fine lines. But you
were telling me before we were live that you're going on 80 now, right?
40. I just turned 40. Yes. It's 80, hopefully not too soon. I got 40 more years before that. But eyesight, which is fascinating. Like the UCL University found that if just 3 minutes eyes open in the morning equated to 17% improvement immediately. So within the same 24-hour period. So people don't think, oh, well, my vision worsening isn't necessarily normal. It's not genetic. I could actually turn this around. Thyroid function, you could regenerate the thyroid. So it produces thyroid hormones naturally. So you don't have to take levothyroxine. There was one study that showed in 5 weeks, 47% got off their levothyroxine completely in a chronic autoimmune thyroiditis. There's another study that showed 96% of the women with enlarged thyroid went to a regular thyroid after a 3-week treatment at a 1-year follow-up. 96%. There's a 97 women completed that study. There's so many amazing benefits. And then the cancer studies are fascinating. That's called photodynamic therapy, which is people now know about methylene blue because they saw RFK take it, RFK Jr. And you take it 30 minutes before you get in front of the red light. There were some studies showing like 99% of efficacy. Like in short periods of time, not all cancers. All cancers having a benefit, but some of them being really quickly responsive. What else? Then you've got erectile. That's real because that's nitric oxide and cytochrome C oxidase signaling. They're the reasons and which you activate with light therapy so that you arguably don't need to take.
I have a close family member, by the way. Now you mentioned the levothyroxine. I have 2 close female family members on it. So now I'm thinking I didn't know that was even a thing. So that's interesting.
It's totally a thing. And I would just say that thyroid disease is just really light deficiency. And once you understand that you have mitochondria in all your organ cells, so in the thyroid and the brain, typically it's 1 to 5,000 mitochondria per organ cell, and they account for about 25% of the cells. They have light receptors in them called chromophores. When they receive light, they cause the cells to generate energy, and that's called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. When they have cellular energy, they can go and perform cellular function. And that means generating thyroid hormones, detoxifying the thyroid of halogens, bromine, and fluoride. They'll inherently detoxify. So it's not rocket science. It's just a simple science, but it's one that is amazing. Like I've got an 87-year-old grandma that's about to get off her thyroid medication.
That's nuts. So, I mean, that's awesome. First of all, that she's 87, but also that's even better. My one thing that I like to talk about is like, I'm like a business guy. So you're probably familiar with like 80-20 rule. You comply, like, so when we're talking about red light, like 80-20 it for me, because one thing I like to try and stay away from is like something as a panacea, right? Like, so where are like the biggest hits for red light therapy that people, are like the 2 or 3 things that you think are like always kind of like, hey man, this probably would help most people.
Yeah, exactly. I would say fatigue. So fatigue is like the big thing that people complain about. That is because your cells are tired, and so it's an absence of cellular energy, and that would be big. So what else? You've got joint pain and back pain, things that people start feeling that can become debilitating. These are deficiencies as well. The mechanism here is fascinating because you're penetrating all the way through the bones. The light that you can't see there is the near infrared between 800 and 1100 nanometers. And that's interfacing with the mitochondria going into the bones and into organs. And it's generating stem cells. And so in the bones, it's going to cause the proliferation of mesenchymal stem cells and differentiate them and mature them. So because of that, then it becomes like a thing. Because if I said stem cells, you'd say, well, that's limitless because it's new cells going to the body. But the problem with stem cell therapy, and I saw this with my dad, I paid $30,000 for stem cells for his knees over the course of several years, and it didn't work at all for him. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be for anyone, but the environment never changed. So what you need to actually do, and red light changed his life and changed his function of his knees, what cost a few $100s, really actually far outperformed for us, 30,000 in stem cells for his knees. And so my point there is that you're generating stem cells, and then it becomes like that holy grail of things that it's like it will help everything. I'm not saying it will reverse everything in and of itself. Like if people have toxic root canals and toxic amalgams in their mouth, that could impede the healing. And so I don't want to be like, oh, you don't have to do anything else.
Yeah. This is like a multiplier, or like so how does the average person, sorry if I'm going off script here, but
man. I'm open. I love it.
So I see them behind you, these devices. I've seen them in the store as like a handheld mask for like women, or like, what is the way that most people, so is it more like targeted, or is it more, because I'm assuming those big lights are kind of like broad spectrum, like you just like almost like I have a sauna that's infrared, and so when I go in there, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Is it both? Is it like you get a smaller handheld device if you're really trying to target like elbow pain, or do you just blast the whole thing?
Yeah, you could so you could do something like with a cap, right? So you could go after your hair, and then you're specifically
a
going
topic near and dear to my heart. Yeah, yeah, we're going to talk about the hair thing, and yeah.
Near and dear to your hair. Okay, so you could do that, or like items like this, which I got Tim Tebow and all the
to rap
Lance Armstrong and Mark Calloway, the Undertaker. I was just with them a couple of days ago, but even these well-known celebrities are using this. All right, it's got 5 different wavelengths. So yes, you can topically go after places, and that's great. The key though is if you go over all your organs, then it's going to be better. You're meant to be bathed in light, and it comes back to almost like, okay, well, we designed in the Garden of Eden to be completely engulfed in light, and then to be grounded as well, and that's the benefit of pulsed electromagnetic field. But the best answer to your question, Jeremy, is this, right? So have a look at these wavelengths here. This is the best explanation, right? So here's 9 different wavelengths, from 480, which is a blue light, 590, all the way up to 1060, that's all within the optical window. And so notice how they're penetrating different levels. 590 is hitting the epidermis, 630 is the dermis, subcutaneous tissues, 660 up. That's visible red light from 630 to 670. And then near infrared, you're getting through the muscle, bone, interior tissues. And because of that, right, and this was the study here showing on what I mentioned before, because people say things without proving them. Here's this study that shows that mesenchymal stem cells are being generated in the bones with this red and near infrared light therapy to both differentiate and proliferate them. And here you've got the wavelengths that are proven to do these functions in different studies and for different conditions. There's stem cell regeneration, Parkinson's disease, hypertension, liver function. So different wavelengths are proven in clinical studies to do these. There's close to 10,000 studies now. And there you have all these different categories, which you wouldn't expect one thing to do so many different things. There's your hair growth there, Jeremy. I know you're I know you're
I told, just so people know, I said I'm going to do it. Like, I'll even document it. I'll get the cap, I'll document it. And yeah, because we did talk about the hair loss stuff. And how does that really, is it like stimulate your scalp? Does it, how does that, the red light, is it just by, targeting the hair follicle cells and trying to fix that? Or how does that, does that work?
It's stimulating the stem cells in the scalp and in the hair follicles to regenerate, and it's providing cellular energy. So those cells as well need energy to generate new life, new cells, and it becomes an area that the body doesn't need to survive. So it will become one of the early things to go, because
makes sense. Yeah.
And then a sign of hair growth, often people that are getting it aren't trying to get it because they're like, putting a red light panel over their body, their organs, everything is more healthy. So they're reversing aging, and then the hair comes back. It's kind of like a side effect.
Well, that's a side effect I'm willing to accept. So when people start doing, and I know there's so much to talk about red light, and we're going to have you on the show maybe next week where we can really explore it more in depth with Luke, who's also more knowledgeable at holistic stuff than I am. How long do people generally need to wait to start seeing results? Obviously, the bigger the problem, I imagine, the longer it takes for results. But what's something practical people can wrap their heads around? They buy a cap, or they start working on, they get a Velcro wrap, and they're working on their joint pain or something like that. What's the timeline for that kind of stuff for people?
Yeah. I'll go with the shocking first, and then I'll go with the less shocking. Right, this is an example here. This was a cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. If anyone looks at the font, they know what that is. That's PubMed.
Okay.
See
right here, this mark here on the body, or what am I looking at here?
That's the lymphoma, right? So that's the lymphoma. They use 630 nanometer red light therapy. And you see under figure 1, it says a complete response in a patient with this certain type of cutaneous B-cell lymphoma with 2 sessions of MAL PDT. So MAL is methylaminoleucolic acid. It's like a substitute for methylene blue, and then PDT. So this person had 2 sessions and they had complete remission. This here is the study. I'm just pulling it straight up from the clinical review here. So, based on the study reported 3 patients. It was a pilot study in 2006. Three patients with early primary cutaneous B-cell lymphoma were treated with topical photodynamic therapy, and all achieved complete clinical and histologic remission. And you just saw one of the images there, and it was all within 1 week. Okay, so that's shocking. Nobody should expect that. Just saying, even though that happened, right?
Yeah. It was the perfect storm. It was the right type of lymphoma at the right type at the right time, and that's what worked. Yes,
and because it's so topical and then it's easy to respond. So the ones that you'll see immediately would be things like eyesight, because eyes are part of the brain. Exposed brain has the highest concentration of mitochondria. There's up to hundreds of thousands of mitochondria per brain cell in some brain cells. So depression, hours, right? So because the clinical studies are showing that within hours there's dramatic responses, and then the first hour there's a response, and then the second hour greater. So it's a stacking effect. That being said, that if you're going after depression or anxiety, then expect like a longer period of time, because you're still going to, but you should have immediate improvement. Back pain, there can be cases where within a couple of weeks or even a few days or even after a single session, people feel better. And then there's clinical studies on fat loss, which, because it's used as a substitute for fat loss, which is called photonic lipolysis. And some of those they're like 5 weeks and they've lost 6 inches, like really short periods of time. But the longer things I would say would be, there was a Lancet Oncology study that showed, let's see, what are we looking at there? Yeah, so the Lancet Oncology study, I'll pull that one up, because that one showed 49% go into remission in the red light group. And then
while you pull that up, I wonder about like dogs with joint pain. I wonder if it's ever been tested on that, because I have German Shepherds, and I feel like I've done acupuncture for this guy for he has some his hips and stuff, and then they even suggested red light therapy for him as well. Exactly. And we bought him like a bed to lay on for it.
Oh, you did? That's great. Yeah. Part of the reason why we'll have a pets.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Put me on the marketing team.
Yeah, exactly, dude. You got it, man. No, that'd be awesome. So pets are living beings. I wouldn't say that humans are animals, but we have a lot in common with animals. And I think the powers that be want to convince us that we are animals.
Yeah, right.
But the Bible makes a distinction and says that we're a different class of being, but we have a lot in common. We have a lot in common with plants. We all have mitochondria. So people need to like think about this, because I'll say all these things and then people will sit there going, oh, well, I wish it worked for children. Well, duh, they're just small adults. And the eyesight study I cited for over 40, like that was people over 40 that I just cited the result for. But the studies on children, there's 6,400 children in the 41 clinical trials, and red light was the #1 thing that stopped vision worsening in children. So when people make investments, like small investments in something like red light therapy, they're doing something for their whole family, and they're doing things for conditions that they don't have, that they, by God's grace, won't have. And this is a good example. This is Lancet Oncology. This was 413 patients. It was a 2-year study. 49% go into remission in the red light group, the complete remission, and then 13.5% in the control group. This was a game changer. 6% get surgery in the red light group. 30% get surgery in the non-red light group. I'm not sure if that is awesome for you, considering that 9 out of 10 men will go impotent after the radiotherapy surgery. And and chemo.
That's a side effect most people don't talk about, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And no one in the Redlight group had urinary issues and erectile dysfunction issues.
That's correct. I mean, that's pretty strong. Yeah. I tried to.
You got to see the face of these guys. I'm going to pull up the study from BBC.
Yeah.
And you got to see the face on these guys. This one guy, it's really funny. I feel incredibly lucky was his words. Let's see. You know, you go, what you're going to say?
Yeah. Well, it is, you know, I've been kind of flirting around Redlight for a while, and I feel like it was fortuitous that our paths crossed at the time that they did, because, you know, it's something I've been considering for hair loss, and it's something I've been considering for just general aches and pains and fatigue, in making it a part of like that daily routine. Like when I was feeling better, I was doing the sauna, I was doing the hot tub. I wanted to get a cold plunge, but I haven't gotten that. But like my wife is much more healthy than me, and she still deals with a lot of like aches and pains and stuff like that. And it's something that consistently kept coming up in my research, because like we're a big as few pills as possible household, and so it's something that kept coming up. So it was you know, it was good timing.
That's beautiful, man. I'm grateful for that. I've got a lot of friends that have said something similar, and it's just a blessing. So Gerald Capone, 68, told the BBC, "I'm totally cured and free from cancer. I feel incredibly lucky that I was accepted for this trial. I feel my life ahead is worry-free." He was out of hospital the day after the treatment, and here he is.
That's wild.
Sharing his story, and this is BBC. Prostate cancer laser treatment, truly transformative. And you know, why do you think you felt so lucky? Like up to 9 in 10 patients to develop erectile problems. And then, this is
wild.
This is why they're waiting and seeing. This is why people are putting it off. What men need to do is not wait. Like think about how you go get mammograms, but mammograms are misdiagnosing and even causing cancer, right? Breast cancer.
Well, getting more and more X-rays pumped in your body, and men don't.
Yep.
That's a big problem in the men in the male community, is just staying up. It's something I tried to talk about. It was something I was heavy on with my dad. Men don't get checked, and because there's a level of like embarrassment there, or there's you know, I know famously like our local sports team would give away free baseball tickets. They'd be like, "Prostates, please, man, please, like come. We'll give you 4 free tickets to see the Milwaukee Brewers. Just come, you know." So yeah, it's definitely in the male community, we tend to wait until it's a real big problem before saying anything. Not dissimilar than animals. Like, you know, animals don't like to show weakness either. And
there you go.
Yeah, and then you don't really notice it until it's too late.
You got it. And it's an evidence of propaganda, misinformation, concealing, and botched treatments. A fool's choice, where you either get tested and get, okay, now I found out, now I got my prostate cut out. It's almost like we are making the right choice by avoiding a system, but then there is something better. And so mammograms, not good. Thermography, much better. It can detect breast tumor before it's the size of like a pinhead, and versus a lump. And so that's better. But then what's better than thermography? Not saying that you shouldn't do it, but my point is it's still waiting, right? Think about how dumb that is. We wouldn't do it with anything else. If we were worried about our bank account hitting zero, you'd go and make money. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't just wait until your bank balance shows zero. So what do? You get Redlight, put it over the breast, put it over the prostate, and do it as preventative. There are studies on preventative.
Hey, famously, men were, I don't know if you saw this, but like, it was a thing I reported on my channel. Men were like sunning their buttholes. Yeah. Like, you know, to get, and it was like a thing. And then like, I talked to Luke, one of my co-hosts, about it. He's like, no, he's like, you get these like special shorts that you wear, so you're not like out, you know, making the neighbors upset. But like, there was real like, you know, benefits of just getting sun to places where maybe it doesn't, or light to places where maybe it doesn't always get.
There you go. Like there's this saying like something where the sun don't shine.
Yeah,
and that's the butt, or the butt hole, or whatever, right?
yeah.
And because
that's where your prostate is, right? I mean, that's it's down. It's not getting a lot of sunshine or any rays at all.
You just hit the nail on the head. the areas that people need to be most concerned about for skin cancer or other types of cancer are the areas that don't get sun, because the sun has healing, as at Malachi chapter 4. So the sun, S-U-N, of righteousness will rise with healing in his wings. And that translates the son of righteousness or correctness, because this is just putting correct frequencies in my body, permeating through, and healing in his wings. Wings translates projections or wavelengths. And so that's why you'll find certain wavelengths are doing certain functions. I mentioned breast cancer, so I'll quickly show that. You'll see that this was the study done.
That's why, by the way, my doctor said that I'm balding because I wear hats too much. And my head's not getting, because it isn't like not generationally, but what's the word? Like my mom's, because it comes from your mom's dad's, right? And they all had full heads of hair, and and he's like, dude, stop wearing your hat so much, like, you can go outside. So like,
dude, that's a good doctor, man.
Yeah. I see somebody who's at least open to other stuff. He's like, well, you can spend 15 grand on hair transplant therapy or hair transplant surgery. It's not therapy. Or, maybe like see what happens, like, don't wear your hat so much. So now I only wear it when I'm on camera because it's become a part of my look. But now it's off all the other things. Much like Tim Pool, like he's got the beanie on all the time. Now but when I'm not outside, I'm not on it.
Maybe he's taking it off outside.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like, but I'll show you some of the research on that androgenic alopecia. But like yes, that is right. So you've got to get light to these areas, and the deficiencies in light, like, and breasts are another example where they're being covered all the time. I'm not,
unfortunately,
exactly. I'm not going to say burn the bra. The cultures that I'm in that do that, like, to me, it's oppressive, because I'm in like northern Kenya with the tribes people, and I can see the problem with it, right? But the point is that there's ways to do this at much higher strengths. And so this was 24 hours post-exposure point. There was 4 different wavelengths. This is mind-blowing to think about this, because these are all very close they're all red. And if you looked at it, you wouldn't quite
the wavelengths 615, 630, 660, 730.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this was for both non-triple negative and triple negative. And it was 24 hours post-exposure time point that only LED red light with the wavelength 660 nanometers possessed anti-proliferative effects against both cell lines, with 40% reduction of cell viability. So in 24 hours, the proliferation, the growth of the cancer in the breast dropped by 40%. And this is PubMed. This is in vitro, so it's in a petri dish. That's showing a real biological process that is valid and valuable.
Yeah. And since I don't want people to get like too overloaded, but I have like 2 more questions. One basically is there like harmful, can you overdo it? Is too much red light something you want to monitor? And then also, like, where can people go to learn? Obviously they can go to myredlight.com, which is in your bio, but like, so what, is this something you want to be doing? You want to be monitoring how much you're taking in? And also where can people learn more about it?
Yeah. Awesome. So first, the amount, like, so one of the keys of why I've cracked codes, and this was showing you before, like, so this is a book I authored. It's coming out shortly. This is the Cancer Off Switch. But the reason why doctors like this, Dr. Antonio Jimenez from the Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers, like, they've treated presidents and all kinds of things, right? So the world's
leading. He gave you a very glowing review.
Yeah,
he says, glowing endorsement.
He says we've been friends for nearly a decade. He's been a beacon of hope. His unwavering dedication to those battling cancer and other chronic conditions is nothing short of inspirational. And then he says, this book is a potential lifesaver for those touched by cancer or seeking to prevent it. This book isn't just recommended, it's essential. So that's huge. Because
when's that out, by the way?
Oh yeah. Give me, I'm doing some, the pre-release, people have reported, I have had cases come back to me already of people using that to put one case I'm talking about, because there's only like 50 that went out, their mother in remission, but give me a month. But
we'll have you back on when your book's out, and then we can talk about that. Yeah,
that'd be amazing. And so that wasn't a paid endorsement. That's another doctor that sees the devastation of cancer. There's a reason why we're a huge part of his patient program. So when patients go home, they go on our Redlight devices, like with Redlight. So that's a huge honor to me because you wouldn't know the difference. Like what the viewer doesn't know the difference, like unless they test it with meters, right? And so I'll answer your question here, but you put a meter in front and you're like, okay, I can see why they're using it. This is over 200 milliwatts per centimeter squared. That replicates the studies that he's referencing, not like it's not a weak dose. And then it's got all the 9 wavelengths that I showed you. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah. But that kind of answers the second part of where people can go to learn more. But twice a day is you could do it because biologically, how often is the sun red? In the morning and evening. So it is the biological clock that says you're awake, and then the other one that says you're about to go to sleep. But not just that, it's signaling the body in all these intricate ways. So you could do 15 minutes twice a day. You could do 30 minutes twice a day. There was a long COVID study that showed 64 to 84 minute long sessions, and it was 100% successful for acute long COVID. And this was 4 sessions within 1 week. It was 62 people. 60 had complete resolution of their symptoms, of all symptoms like cognitive decline, executive function, memory recall, digestive issues, oxygen above 97% without supplementation. Like that's insane. 60 out of 62 got better within a single week after 4 sessions within 1 week. And then the other 2 that didn't get better within that week, off the 4 sessions within that week, got better in the following couple of weeks, but with no additional sessions. So you could do an hour and a half long if you're acute. But normally it's like 20, 30 minutes, and as little as 20 minutes twice a week. And some of the studies I've referenced have showed those parameters. So the second one was myredlight.com. I've got like a free training there that's about 2 hours long, and then you could watch it in double time, get it through in an hour, however people like to consume content. But
people usually watch me in double time. So they'll be used to that. Yeah.
I'm not saying I speak pretty fast, but you can still understand me at double time, like 1.5, whatever you want, right? But or just like take it in and enjoy it, watch it with your wife, your husband, your mom, and these are incredible tools so that you can learn like how to use it, and then get a device if you believe in it and try it. And that's why we're really passionate about giving those solutions to people. Like I mentioned, I'm doing this anti-human trafficking work, and we just had 100 million committed to, and this is all going to rescuing children, right? So this is not me getting money. This is not somebody else. It's all getting deployed into the foundation, Tim Tebow Foundation, all through actual rescues, actual technology. So my point in saying all that is I only care about the world being better, your health being better, you being out of suffering. You're either like people are either being oppressed or physically or in their own body. And I'd describe a lot of the treatments that are happening and a lot as physical torture. And I think it's a crime. And that's why getting products that actually work to people is part of my life's mission. So we fully cover with a 60-day money back guarantee, 3-year warranty on our panels. We're standing by the customer to get them results and teach them how to use it in our groups.
That's a big part of it, right? Like learning. I mean, we talked before the show. Like, I'm definitely, I'm gonna definitely squeeze you for a good deal on this, and I'm gonna try it, and then we'll come back and we'll talk again after some time. But there's obviously a lot of research people can read on the website. Yeah, and this has been fascinating, and there's so much to talk about, and I want to have you back on again. We could just have like the full hour for you, or the full 90 minutes, and just really talk about this, plus some of the work you're doing against trafficking and things of that nature. But this has been really great, and thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy. And I got really good news as well for the audience. You mentioned like a good deal. Like, we've got a code for your audience, which is Q25 and Q30. So it's a limited time. So you could activate that 25 and 30% off discount. So individual items, 25%, bundled items, like where you get it together, 30% off. And it's a huge
I was just looking at it. There's a lot of different stuff. You can basically get like the whole everything, but you can also get some smaller stuff to start if you're like, hey, I want to try a smaller thing, and then maybe you get more stuff later. So there's a lot of different entry points for people to use. So yeah, use Q25 or Q30 to save. Jonathan, thanks so much for coming on and for doing this interview, and we'll have you on again like real soon. And I'll keep you posted on my journey with it too.
I can't wait, Jeremy. We're going to help you a bunch, man. And yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a blessing, and it's been really fun chatting with Jeremy. And guys, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and just, make the investments you need in your own health. And then you end up saving so much money when you do the things you need to do now.
Yeah.
And then what you find is you do the math on it. You're like, dude, this is cheaper than the cheapest supplement. You do the math on it because it's one and done. And then you can use this for the next 20, 30 years, 50 years, however long you plan to live. Like, it'll outlive you based on our FDA Class 2 certifications. Your whole family uses it. So like it's an investment you can't afford not to make. I'm so convinced of that. I've seen it a million times over now. So bless you guys, and thanks for having me, Jeremy.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much. All right, we're back. Some interesting stuff. I was going to, I removed the wrong thing. I just noticed there's an update on Andrew Warren Stanton, who called for violence against ICE, facing now 10 years. Interesting seeing a lot of these things kind of popping back in. And but anyway, thanks for sticking around for after the break, Luke. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. No worries at all.
Yeah,
I know Otto's great. Literally, I was on the same plane with him yesterday. I was getting out of my seat. I'm like, wait, I know you.
Yeah. He knows his
hung
stuff.
Out with him extensively. Great, super interesting guy. Always a great conversation to be had with him.
I brought up your butthole suntanning.
I know. I was just going to bring that up, even if you're talking about butt tanning.
Yeah, I mentioned you, and I mentioned that we talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely
just outside getting some sun and like stretching. Not my full, not the full sun approach here, but I was like, I had horrible sleep. I couldn't sleep last night at all.
Well, being on the road is always kind of tough for sleep, and you feel free to I'm gonna get one of his systems, and I'm gonna try it. Like, I don't think it's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm kind of excited to see.
Yeah, I've been using Redlight for a while. Ever since like COVID, I was like, I need to do all the alternative health stuff.
Yeah. Everything I
let me
can.
start researching into this, and some of the studies, especially with the brain, are pretty fascinating. There's also testosterone studies that are also pretty fascinating. Like, I just think I'm just kind of trying everything, to be quite honest with you, because it's like, you don't want to be sick, you don't want to feel like crap. Your body is a gift from God. And you got to treat it right. And if you don't, like, you pay the severe consequences of it with misery, pain, and suffering. And then everything just starts to crumble around you. So, yeah, I was seriously out of health during COVID. And then it was a big wake-up call. Like, the elites are releasing bioweapons. Time to shape up.
Yeah, right. And trying stuff that is not doesn't put you on a pharmaceutical thing. My whole thing with it is like, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm gonna start like small with like the thing for your arms, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, getting light into your body is a good thing. Like that at the very basic level, like, people need more light in general. I'm gonna try the helmet too.
Their vitamin D levels are crap too. Like the vitamin D is really the key crux of it all, because that controls not just your immune system, but like your teeth health, your nervous system, your brain health, like depression, all of that stuff is correlated to it, low vitamin D. That's why I got really into like getting into the vitamin D supplements, because they've helped me out so much, especially with my sleep. And sleep's everything. I was like banging my head up against the wall. I was like, I can't figure it out. Obviously, I'm like Polish, blonde hair, blue eyes. So like skin cancer risk through the roof.
Yeah.
I already dealt with like severe problems with that. So I'm like, crap, I got to supplement. I used to get sun all the time, and my vitamin D levels were still low, and I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah, that's my thing is going to be see how my energy levels are and see how stuff goes. I had this one last topic. I am going to try the helmet. I'm going to try the helmet for hair growth, and look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there's certainly enough like science behind it. It's not like a normal crazy thing. Redlight's been around for a long time.
Yep.
I know you recently traveled. How was your TSA experience? I was seeing some pictures of like TSA lines into the like parking garage.
Yeah. Well, there's like a partial government shutdown specifically with TSA. The Democrats are trying to make sure that Border Patrol doesn't get financed and funded. So they've cut off support for TSA. I think the TSA just needs to be replaced by a private entity already.
Yeah, I know. Right. It'll probably be cheaper.
Bring back private security. Like, this is ridiculous. They suck. They're awful. They're not a good government agency. A lot of people, like I was talking to
a lot of good people work for them, though. I just mean,
top down.
A lot of these people could probably get trained and hired in the private sector. But it's just like the mail, too. A lot of good mail people. Does it really need to be a government program?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they've been talking about that for years, right? Like the mail is making less and less money. It's costing more and more money. If you privatized it, someone like Elon would probably come along and make it profitable, and it would be faster and better for more people. And that same thing with TSA. I mean, we all know TSA is basically security theater anyway. Like
exactly. And there's a number of stories. I was talking to one person over the weekend about how their friend just accidentally brought a carry-on firearm by accident, and the TSA didn't catch it.
Oh God!
And they got to their location. I'm like, oh crap! You can legally travel with your firearm. You just have to declare it before.
Yes, I've done it before.
My travel nightmare. Like I'm always super early at the airport because I'm like, I got to declare my firearm. Like, hey,
it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Nationwide concealed carry can't pass fast enough. By the way.
Yeah. By the way, people are asking for that promo code. There's a link in the description for the promo code for that stuff if you want to check it out. But also, I mean, traveling with a sidearm, plus you have to make sure the state you're going to, has reciprocity, all this, kind of nonsense that, I can fly to California and get shot by a gang member, but I can't bring my own sidearm with me. It's like,
or your magazine, or even a magazine. If you bring in a magazine,
if it's too big, can't do it. Yeah. You're going to jail. It'll be interesting to see how long. What do you think the rest of the week holds for us? More chaos and more doom.
So, according to Axios in their latest reporting, the initial hearings is that the bombing campaigns are going to be ratcheted up for the next 2 weeks, right? So we'll see. There's also FBI threats, specifically now mentioning Los Angeles being targeted. Which,
I saw that with drones. They're not going to do that. Like, there's no way a drone makes it from Iran to America, although we did have the hot air balloons. I mean, I guess,
But it's not just that. It's any type of lunatic takes a regular drone and then just straps an explosive onto it, or I don't want to give any ideas or hints, but like,
well, Hassan Piker told his whole audience that 30,000 people. All you need to do is go buy a DJI, and then China sells these attachments. Easy, bing, bang, boom, IED for you. It's like, I'm not saying he was telling them to do it, but I'm like, maybe don't advertise.
Yeah, but there's a lot of lunatics out there. Luckily, the story in New York was that these guys made these IEDs that failed. Thank God.
Yeah,
but we got to understand there's going to be massive amounts of blowback when we blow up the religious figurehead of a religion that finances terror.
That's true.
And Hamas, like, there's going to be blowback. And I know there was some initial reports of the administration kind of trying to tamper that down. Obviously, that's not true now. And just keep your eyes, keep your head on a swivel. Carry if you can legally, obviously. And let's try to push for, nationwide concealed carry. I know there's like some legislative action there. I think it needs to happen. Obviously, we are, as citizens, in danger, and we need to take these threats very seriously.
How great it would have been if one of those Terrys threw that bomb and just some dude pulled and just, like, I'm just saying, like, that would have been I believe, a powerful message. Like, boom, you're dead. All right. Yeah. That's the end of that chapter.
FBI keeps lying on their statistics about how many lawful legal gun owners stop mass shooters and criminals.
Yeah.
So the data is surprising, and it's being obfuscated and censored for a reason. So, an armed public is a safe public, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And clearly in California you can't carry, but you know, if I was going to be in California, I would want to carry, because obviously,
well, you can't lawfully carry, you know, but yeah, people do.
Still.
Yeah. I want you to give a chance before we kick it over Viva, to remind people where they can follow you, where they can find you, and you know, what you've got coming out later today.
I'm releasing a bunch of content right now, specifically about the kind of war of words, the propaganda war, the kind of severity of the situation, how to prepare and prep yourselves. Like, I have my members group, and I'm like, hey guys, you know, you guys should probably train.
Yeah, where do they join that? Luke Unfiltered, right?
Yeah, lukeunfiltered.com if they want to join and support this independent media network. But the main channel, we are changed on YouTube. I got a second channel, but it seems like YouTube is like really just going out of their way right now to try to like suppress any type of critical coverage, dude, which is not good.
The whole landscape is pretty bad right now.
Or they just let in the door for more AI slop, and then more AI just consumed everything.
I'm wondering if that is a bigger part of it, because it's just like, man, the struggle is real. Like, just to even be seen anymore these days. Like, when I see Tim Pool upload a video that has 10,000 views in an hour, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, if it's not good, you know, like there's something going on. There could be a lot of people just saying like, yo, I can't with all the doom and gloom. Maybe there could be people checking out for that, but there's something going on.
I always try to make people laugh and like try to be, you know, a little sardonic and facetious as much as I can. I think we do need to laugh, because like it's a pretty bad situation internationally.
Well, and at some point you can only stare into the void so long before it starts staring back at you, and you can't. It's just no way to live for people, like to just always be upset. You know, by the way, we're supposed to get in Wisconsin up to 20 inches of snow this weekend. Let me see. So shout out snow. I'm glad I didn't take the plow off my UTV yet. Sunday, some apps calling for as much as, let's see. That's crazy. 4-inch probability through Sunday morning. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of snow this weekend. Yikes. That's gonna be fun. Now, usually it seems like every time the media's like, oh my God, like snow apocalypse is coming, and we get like no snow. So it should be, but shout out to the weather report. If you're in the Midwest, UP of Michigan said like 50 inches. Holy shit. That's 4 feet of snow. Yeah, there's going to be, maybe don't go buy water. I don't know why people buy water, but like make sure you have driveway salt. Make sure you're being careful when you're shoveling. Make sure you have diesel or whatever you need for your snowblowers, stuff like not for southeastern Wisconsin, not 20. Okay, well, that's good. But yeah, go check out Luke Unfiltered, join his club. And you go on one of his tactical training things. I hear some people asking me about that, and so you should do that. And we'll talk to you guys.
You got to do that.
I know. Well, I'm going to come to Florida, and I'm going to beat Viva Fry's ass in bowling, and then we're going to go. Viva and I have a very similar average, but he is very good at bowling, and so I'm going to challenge him. But he's got to give me my pins, like any normal bowling. Like my average is like 180, his average is like 205, so he's got to give me 25 pins, and that's the fair matchup. But yeah, I don't know how close he is to you, but that might be a really fun trip.
He's very close.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do that soon. 180 was my average. Yeah, 180 is a great bowling average. People, I don't know why people are like when you tell somebody that your average is like 140 or 150. They're like, oh, that's not good. That is good. That means you probably throw the occasional 200. And, but you also, like me, will throw the occasional 100. But yeah, all right, Everett, go check out Luke's stuff. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 Eastern. And we'll go send you over to Viva and tell him the bowling challenge is on, but he's got to give me the difference. He's got to give me my handicap. And then I'll fly down there. And I have to fly down with a bowling ball, which would be kind of funny. But I don't know, you get 50 pounds in your carry-on, right? So I could just put it in there. So, all right, go say hi to Viva, and we'll see you guys later.